What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Icing the Puck. We hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. I know we did. Great Christmas, great time to rest, get away from work. Sadly, there's no hockey for 3 days. Horrible. I had an existential crisis. I didn't know what to do on the 26th. There's no hockey. There's no football. There's some bowl game, FIU versus UTSA. I didn't want to watch that, so I chilled, watched the show. Jordan, how you doing, man? How was your Christmas? How was the holiday?
It was a good Christmas, very good. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to Colorado, but I was here. We hung out. Everybody saw. We had a good Christmas Eve. That was nice. And
got together on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and then good Christmas. Good presents, good food, just hanging out with everybody. So, but yeah, it was a good time.
I ate a lot of good food over the break. I had a couple of days off of work. We had you and I on Christmas Eve. We had some steaks, some lamb chops, some shrimp cocktail. It was good. Yesterday, went over to the dad's place. Had some fajitas, some more shrimp,
Nice.
like taco style. Some good stuff. I was eating like a king.
Gotta be careful. Remember, we just talked about this. Like, anytime we bring up food, it's controversial.
Ooh. Should we start out with that?
We can talk about it first. If anybody hasn't checked out our socials in a little bit, and if they remember from last episode, some shots were fired at Buffalo and Buffalo Wings, and some controversy apparently.
Some serious controversy on the TikTok.
Getting some hate.
We have, almost 50 comments now? I didn't know people from Western New York took things that serious. Guys, I have to, first of all, I don't understand why I have to state this, but I do. I know that Buffalo Wings were created in Buffalo. I know that. It's called a joke. Maybe you should take it next time. we like to be a little silly here on Icing the Puck. I understand why people took that so serious.
I know I'm famously known as a hater, and, especially a Buffalo hater, kind of overrated in my opinion. But yeah, there was a little bit of a joke saying, "Oh, it's a Buffalo thing to say that they're invented in Buffalo." But I mean, I stand by what I said. It is kind of a Buffalo thing to say. They think they're the greatest, but
people did not like that you're a Ranch fan.
I mean, they can get over it. It's objectively better.
I'm really surprised that I didn't get more hate for saying that I only eat blue cheese with my fries. I don't dip the wings in blue cheese.
That's kind of weird.
I said that last time. Nobody caught that.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. I didn't think you meant only your fries. I think you meant like you also dip your fries in blue cheese.
No, I don't eat the wings with it. I just dip the fries in it. This is part 2 of the clip. People are going to lose their mind.
I mean, I still think it's weird because it's blue cheese and it's not good. And then people said, "Oh, it's a different type of blue cheese." It's still bad. Just saying. But, everybody knows ranch is the superior dip for, wings, fries, anything like that. So anybody that thinks it's for children, grow up.
What's crazy is that people were saying that they don't call the sauce that you put on the wings, you don't call it buffalo sauce, like the mild or the medium. Apparently you just call it sauce there.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's why it's called buffalo, like buffalo sauce.
No, right? But they're saying in Buffalo, they just call it sauce. It's not called buffalo sauce.
I get you.
One thing I don't understand is I'm from here in Texas. Barbecue sauce is very famous here. We still call it barbecue sauce.
It's because we're normal.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Buffalo, I think we've said this before. If we ever go on an Icing the Puck tour when we get big enough, but apparently we won't ever get big enough because some people think podcast equipment should be a little more expensive or not everybody should have a podcast. Well, you know who says that? You know who says that is people who don't have a people who don't try to have a podcast. Okay, at least we're over here. We're giving our best shot.
We're just having fun. We're just, doing our thing, having fun, just enjoying our time.
Just two dudes having fun, man. I don't understand.
We're just hanging out.
Some people don't know how to you TikTok people don't know how to have fun in the slightest. It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame. But listen, we can sit here and talk about what we ate every day. Maybe we should start a second podcast. Maybe we get more views about what we eat. But listen, short week this week, but there's still hockey to discuss this weekend. Things were getting lit up. Mason Marchment got lit up.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
I was gonna bring that up, and I was gonna say your boy Mason Marchment, but
He's not my boy, dude. He's not my boy. But Mason Marchment, we'll start there, and then I guess we'll hit the Metro standings. 2 Metro teams playing tonight: Columbus, New York. Mason Marchment lays a big old trip on Schaefer with his leg, sticks the leg out, dirty play. Which I'll say Marchment's could be a bit of a dirtbag sometimes, every now and
yeah,
then.
I think we talked about it before. He's one of those guys you love him when he's on your team, but you hate him when he's not.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I
But
mean,
Barzal decided to take a little golf whack at him. That thing's got a little chippy tonight, that's for sure.
I think Barzal got ejected. He had 17 total penalty minutes in this game.
Oof.
For all of that. Yeah, he got a 5-minute major, and then he had a 2-minute minor earlier in the game, and then a 5-minute major, and then a 10-minute misconduct, and got ejected from the game. He didn't come back, obviously.
Suspension for either of them?
No, I think he'll probably get a fine. I think Marchment thing. I think Barzal will probably get a fine, like the max, like 5K or whatever it is that they can get fined for slashing. I mean, there wasn't even a flag. Or not flag, too much football. A penalty called on Marchment for the trip. But should the rest start throwing flags around in hockey? That'd be funny. You throw it and it slides all the way down the ice
like a banana peel.
Yeah, that's part of the penalty is you have to dodge it.
If you trip over it, it's like when a broken stick's down.
Yeah.
You can trip
Speaking of broken sticks, did you see, I forget which game that was, one of the refs like pulled and picked up the goalie stick that got knocked to the side while the play was still happening?
I did not see this.
Yeah, I forget which game it was. It was before Christmas. Like, it got knocked. It was like just sitting like just next to the net, and like one of the guys on the team could like easily push it to the goalie like as soon as they cleared the zone.
Mm-hmm.
But while like there was action in the zone, like puck was being passed around, like he was like, there was a couple saves, like a couple shots on net or whatever. The ref like skates by, picks it up and holds it, like is holding onto it. And then he leaves the zone with it and then gives it to the bench. It's like, what are you doing? Yeah, it was wild because it just got knocked out of his hand. I mean, it happens. And then he left with a broken stick that was also in the zone there. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the whole trip on Schaefer was pretty obvious, but it's also like, it was just a trip. It wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't like slash the hell out of Marchment worthy.
Yeah.
I mean, Marchment kind of sold it a little bit, but he did get a pretty good smack on the top of his foot and like calf a little bit. So, I mean, it probably hurt, but.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He did sell it well. I don't think he got penalized for the trip. I think his team got penalized for like roughing, I think, during the the action after the slash happened. But
yeah,
that was a really good game, actually.
Who ended up winning that?
Columbus did. Columbus tied it late in the third period, like 5 minutes left. A really good play, and then scored a empty net goal to close it out. Or they scored. I'm sorry, they scored to really late, like 5 minutes in, or 5 minutes left in the third period to tie it, and then they scored like, I don't know, a couple minutes later, like a minute later or something like that, to go up a goal, and then an empty net goal when the Islanders pulled their goalie. But it was a really good game. Columbus is kind of like, they look good. I think that they like play really well. It's just the standings just don't reflect it. I mean, I like watching them play.
They're inconsistent though. Yeah, that's the thing, and definitely like.
And with what's his name out now too. Werenski's out too.
Yeah, he is. And the whole thing with Columbus was, almost making the playoffs last year. The year before, they looked somewhat okay. Like, kind of thought they were building something good over there. But, I don't know. I think this team is still maybe in the middle of a rebuild, no matter how much we want to deny it.
I think last year they had, like, not that they don't this year or whatever, but they had a really, like, very serious reason to, like, push even harder than ever.
Yeah,
with Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah.
But not that I'm saying, like, now that, like, it's 1 year later, like, oh, just not care anymore. Obviously, it's still a big part of that team, but, it's like the drive was, like, dialed up double last year, which absolutely, I mean, like they were really trying. And I don't think the standings reflect this team. And then you see that sometimes in the league. Like I think that they're a better team than their record shows, but unfortunately, there's no way to prove it other than having a better record. Which
Do you still think they have a chance to be a playoff team or no?
not in that division. I mean, that's the hard part. Is like they have to get into one of the top 3 slots in that division to even.
Yeah, and I really I don't.
I guess
see...
I mean, I guess probably both wildcard teams are going to come from the Metro.
Yeah, but I don't see
I don't see them passing like teams like New Jersey.
I don't even see them passing a team like. I've been very impressed with the Islanders in Philadelphia. Like I don't even know if they're going to pass them. I think I
mean, they're definitely not. Those guys, those teams are 2 and 3 in the league right now, or 2 and 3 in the division right now. So I mean,
the thing is though, is that in that top 4, like we have Carolina, Islanders, Philly, and Washington. One of those teams is gonna fall out, and I think New Jersey's gonna pop back in before playoff time, whether they're wild card or top 3 in that division. But if Jack Hughes stays, which we never know at this point, but if he stays healthy the rest of the way, I mean, it's obvious New Jersey with that roster is gonna pop back into a spot.
Yeah. Can this kind of, I don't know if it's a hot take or whatever. I think it's going to be Washington that's going to get passed.
Really?
Yeah. Some of their games lately have been, the only thing holding them together right now is Logan Thompson. Like, he's played really, really good, and he's really stolen some games for them. They just don't look good. And then with Ovechkin just kind of on a dry spell, basically. Like, I mean,
Ovechkin is finally playing like he's 40 years old. There's no other way to put it. Like, he has 15 goals, which, like, he's good, but he's not like...
Not at the same pace.
Yeah, he's not on the same pace, and it's okay. It's nothing bad to say about Ovi, but like it was expected, and we're not saying he's a bad player, but he is what he is now at 40 years old. He's great from the point, from his office, and that's
he brings a lot more to that team than super high level play. I mean, he is he's literally a giant piece of that team that you can't replace easily at all. Do you think that maybe now that he's gotten the goal record, that was kind of what was pushing him last season, and then
yeah, I think just playing with his friends is what's pushing him now. Like, obviously, like he likes playing the game. He likes playing the game with the guys that he's with. Like he wouldn't. There's no way he ever plays for another team. Like I don't think. And once again, I don't want this to get taken out of context, because this is going to sound bad, but I think a lot of fans, and that's what we are as fans, would agree with us, is he's not playing for a championship right now. He's playing because he hasn't announced it officially, but this is his last year, and that means this is his last year playing with all these guys that are like his best friends, and it won't happen again, so I think he's just soaking it all in, and he's scoring a couple more goals to solidify his Hall of Fame stance a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree with you, though. I mean, I think Washington could be dropped out,
Yeah, I think Philadelphia and the Islanders are playing better than Washington, and I don't
100%.
see Washington passing either. Even though Philadelphia is tied with Washington, and the Islanders are only 1 point up on them. I don't know. I think the Devils will basically push that entire field down. I think they could probably jump up to like second or third in that division, and that'll just push everybody down. And unfortunately, Washington's at the bottom right now, so they're gonna get pushed out to 5th place. But that division is still so close.
Isn't the future looking really bright in both Long Island and Philly? Like, both of these teams are so surprising this year. Like, we've talked about this a couple times, but like both teams got new faces, and they're like obviously Schaefer in New York and what he's become, and
coaching change in Philly was a big deal.
Yeah, Rick Tocchet comes in, he brings in Zegras, and Christian Dvorak is playing hell of a year too. I mean, Michkov isn't like really the guy like he was last year as a rookie. He's kind of down. He's only got 20 points, I believe, this year. But like, man, what a team they've built over there. I feel like they're just going to add. I mean, both teams have a good amount of money that they can spend in the offseason too. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of comes of these two. But the fact that they're top 3 in this division, like interchangeable throughout the year, but they've stuck around the top is pretty incredible to me.
Yeah, they're both teams that are kind of at the end of a rebuild kind
Yeah.
of thing. So
Well,
yeah,
it's almost like
they're right there.
the rebuild is finally paying off a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like they've been in this for a while now, and in the Islanders case, I feel like in both teams' cases they just moved on, kind of like out with the old and with the new type of deal. Because the Islanders moved on from a lot of guys, like Nelson is the biggest one, obviously, and a couple other defensemen they had, and they had who was the guy behind Sorokin, the goaltender, the other Russian guy. They had him for a while too. But they moved on from a couple guys, and here they are, in these spots now with young players that are really impacting their teams. And it's nice to see. Like, it's kind of a nice change of pace. Like, we're going to see some different faces in the playoffs than what we're used to.
Yeah.
And then we could kind of segue from there, a little bit into the Atlantic Division with a team whose rebuild has been seriously paying off in dividends now is Detroit. I can't believe Detroit's been sitting atop this Atlantic Division for a while now, and they look good. Like, I watch Detroit games, and a lot of their games are close. But, like, what I said at the beginning of the year, their top guys have to produce for them. They have to pull it together. And Patrick Kane, DeBrincat, Larkin, Sider, all these guys are pulling it off, and with a 39-year-old goaltender and Cam Talbot starting most of the games. I mean, I am very impressed with Detroit.
Yeah, I think, Kane just came back today. He didn't have any points or anything today in the game, but yeah, they beat the Leafs 3-2. Even with the Leafs looking slightly better, like the past couple games, they still couldn't, it was an overtime loss, but they just so inconsistent on what goals go in or what goals don't go in for them that, I don't know, like a lot of their wins have been kind of luck in a way, like lucky on both sides. Like, they somehow get these goals to score. They somehow get the puck in, and somehow their goalie stops some of these saves. It's been kind of crazy to watch some of their games. And the biggest elephant in the room, Austin Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
Is it controversial to say I don't necessarily think he should make Team USA?
It's controversial right now. Like, I
think that would be a wasted roster spot.
He's having his worst statistical year he's ever had in his entire career.
I think
he's on pace for 60-something points.
Yeah. You know why? Because I said he was going to be, when we did the season prediction things at the beginning of the year, I said it was going to be his greatest season ever. He was going to score like 65 goals and whatever.
The icing the puck curse is real. It is real.
Dallas Stars are winning the cup. The Dallas Stars are winning the cup.
Yeah, I don't know. Matthews, with the Leafs sitting at the bottom, I mean, they only have 17 wins, and they have a winning record still, but this East is so competitive all year. It's so competitive. Like, you have to be better than the next team, and the Leafs are just not better than the next team ahead of them.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely think, like, when you look at every team in the Atlantic, okay, and you see them at the bottom, like, not even like, because sometimes we see, like, we were saying Columbus just now. Columbus plays better than a bottom spot in the Metro. The Leafs do not play better than any of the teams in front of them.
Yeah.
Like, they really don't.
They are only 1 point off of Boston and Ottawa, but it's the same kind of thing. Like, those two teams recently, more so than ever, have played and looked better than, Boston, not really. They've lost a couple games in a row lately, but for a minute there, they were playing, they strung some wins together, and they looked pretty good. We were talking about at the beginning of the episode, Buffalo.
7 in a row.
8 now.
8? What they won today?
Yeah, 8 wins in a row. And, but the thing is though, like, if any other team in like any other division won 8 games in a row, they'd be like top 3. They were so far behind that they're now only like 5th place.
Yeah, they're 5th place in the Atlantic. But once again, these divisions, the entire East is flip-flop. Like, Buffalo could easily get in the top 3 if they continue winning, and a couple of these teams like Montreal just lost to Tampa today. Montreal obviously is going to keep falling. Montreal's been steady losing, quite a bit. This month has been a bad month for them.
Yeah.
Tampa and Detroit have kind of sat atop for a while now, whether they switch off, but they're really the only 2 teams that I'm super impressed with in the Atlantic. And then you have Florida. Florida's kind of the outlier there. I feel like we talk about them a little bit every week. It's like, that are they gonna make it or are they not gonna make
Just
it?
so inconsistent. Like, they go and they beat a team twice in a row, like Carolina, and then they'll lose to like the worst teams in the league. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And you can't, you're not winning a cup that way. Like, you have to consistently win, or, I mean, you obviously you can't consistently lose, but what I'm saying is, like, you have to beat the good teams and you have to beat the bad teams. Right now, they're only beating the good teams.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like this team is like, roster is so built for the playoffs, but they're just not playing like they're built for the playoffs. They're not playing well. And really, it's like you said, inconsistent play. And, obviously, like, we get it. And I feel like we keep saying this excuse every time. They have two of the best players in the league out, one could say. And
if that kills, if having two players out, if having two of your top players out kills your entire team, your team is not built correctly.
Well, but this is a team that has two Conn Smythe winners playing for them right now, okay? Like, Bennett and Reinhardt are both playing right now, okay? And what are they doing? Like, what are they, and they're contributing, but obviously not enough. I mean, you would think the team was built to be filled with leaders, to be filled with guys. This is the ultimate group. They've won 2 cups in a row, and, like, not much to show for it.
Yeah.
Bobrovsky, kind of like Ovechkin, age is showing a little bit. I mean, when you play that much hockey 2 years in a row and you're now 37 years old, I mean, nobody expects you to be a fresh daisy, like, I don't know. I get it, but also I don't get it. Like, where's the grit that we know from this group? It's not there. So.
Yeah, it's confusing. I mean, I don't get, like I said, like, I don't think they can use the excuse of 2 of our best players are out on injury right now. Like, there's so many other pieces of that team that can step in and, step up and take over that workload or whatever. And it's just not happening.
Yeah.
It happens like once every couple games, maybe, but then it just goes back to whatever. And honestly, it's not even that. It's like the guys that you don't expect to be the ones contributing the most that are contributing the most. Yeah. You've got some of these kind of ghosts on your team right now, which is not going to help you long term.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I feel like the Atlantic, if we're talking about what it's going to look like as time goes on, obviously the East has been so unpredictable, but I can see Tampa and Detroit staying atop. I mean, they've both been 2 of the most impressive teams in the East. Who do you think is more of a playoff threat between those 2 teams?
Tampa.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they've won cups with these guys.
The game today against Montreal was like a slog fest. Like, they were just back and forth at each other, and Tampa came out ahead.
Just ripped them apart.
Yeah, I mean, that game, like, I know it sounds weird to say that their goaltender let up 5 goals. Honestly, he looked good other than the goals. Like, but even then, they weren't like his fault. Like, they were goals that, like, there's no way for him to stop those goals. That game should have been wide open. Like, Montreal should have like destroyed Tampa that game with the way the game was going. And
Tampa's sneaky, man. They're sneaky with
and that was their backup goalie. It wasn't Vasilevsky, it was Johansson.
Yeah, Vasilevsky's been out for a little bit.
Jonas Johansson, Avs legend.
But Tampa, it's the same story that it always is with these guys, and that's why, like, this, for Tampa fans, you better hope for your sake that Florida doesn't make it in, because Florida is just this team's kryptonite the past couple of years. Like, if Tampa makes it in, they're like Mike Tyson in the 90s. I mean, they're going to do some serious damage. It's because they have a team of guys who have made it to the dance multiple times.
Well, they're like both Florida teams, like I said, is like are built like playoff teams. The only one that's keeping up and playing like a team that is built for the playoffs and is playing like it right now is Tampa.
Yeah.
They had a slow start. They had some games where they just didn't look good. And now they're coming back, stringing wins together. I mean, I think they're like, what is it? Hold on, let me see. Yeah, they've won 4 games in a row now. And that game today was a little rough, but they still won. Like, they're finding a way to win these games. And at the end of the day, a win is a win, no matter how sloppy or whatever. It's as long as you win that game, And that's how you win a cup. But some of these
Yeah.
teams are just not finding a way, are not finishing out these games. And I've seen that a lot more this year than ever. Like, there's a lot less, like, I feel like this year there's been a lot of like comeback wins more than I remember like last year or the year before,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
It's
And
tight. It's a tight race.
yeah, unless you go over to the Central. You look at the Central and it's,
In the East, real quick, before we move on to the West, give me your cup favorite from the Atlantic and your cup favorite from the Metro.
I mean, cup favorite from Metro is easy. Carolina. I mean, they are, even though they blew 2 games to Florida. That was crazy. But they're really the only contender I see out of the Metro right now. Like, all the other teams are in playoff spots, but I don't think they're cup winning teams right now. Like, maybe if one of them goes on a run at the end of the year, it could change my mind, but I don't see any of those other teams making it through the playoffs.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't even see Carolina. I know that Carolina is playing the best out of those, and they're, high ranked in the league. I just don't think that even they are a cup ready team right now. But they're out of the Metro right now, they're the only ones that could be considered a favorite. Out of the Atlantic, it's going to be Tampa. I mean, just because of the way that they've been able to come back from a slow start in the season, and like I said, and win games that they shouldn't have. That's how you win a cup. And they're the only team in the Atlantic right now that looks like that. Detroit looks good. They've been winning games like solidly, but they've also lost some games that did not look good either. And they've been kind of inconsistent with some of the guys on their roster right now. They're out for a couple games and they're back in, and then they're out for a couple games and they're back in. I mean, I think it's like the second or third time Patrick Kane's been out this season already.
Yeah, he's been out a little bit.
I know he's got like previous injuries that linger and stuff like that, but again, like, if the playoffs are even harder, if you take a bad hit in the playoffs, you don't have weeks to recover. I mean, you either play the next game or you're out for the entire series.
I would agree with you on both of those teams for sure. Detroit, for me, it's the inconsistency with players in and out of the lineup, and then also, like, no offense to him, but like, you don't win a cup with Cam Talbot.
That's with Tampa. Tampa has managed to kind of string these wins together and play the way they have, with Vasilevsky being, in and out.
Yeah, but Vasilevsky,
I think he's on IR again right now.
I think he is, but Vasilevsky in the playoffs, I mean, he's 1-2 in a row. Like, this guy is ready for the moment. I mean, he's arguably one of the best goalies of all time, definitely the best goalie of recent times, like, of the modern era, I'd say, statistically.
Yeah, I agree.
And Carolina is just Carolina. Like, the roster is amazing. Obviously, I think they're a little disappointed in some of the guys that they picked up. Like, Ehlers is still a bit of a disappointment. His season hasn't really picked up the way that they expected it to. And I'd say even the same for Keandre Miller. I mean, I think people expected his name to be called out in the media a lot more about some of the flashy plays, but he hasn't really stepped up to the plate as much. But, like, Carolina has great players. They have a great head coach. They've made it to the conference final 3 years in a row. Like, everybody's saying this is the year to kind of, take the next step. But this Eastern Conference is freaking close, man. Like, is it really bad for me to say that I could really see, like, the Islanders or the Devils in the conference final? I
don't think it's crazy to say that. I don't, like, when I was saying I don't see them as like cup winning teams, I didn't mean like I don't see them making it far in the playoffs. I just don't see them winning the cup
to get that far.
Yeah, like, I could absolutely see, like, some of these other teams knocking Carolina out and making it to, deeper in the playoffs and maybe facing. I don't know. I mean, it's the Eastern Conference is very up in the air on who can make it all the way to the cup, and I don't know, that opens up a different. I can say it, but it's going to open up a can of worms, and we don't need to talk about it now. But I'll just say it, like, that's why sometimes, like, the way the playoff is designed, I don't think is
Yeah, that's
perfect.
something we could.
I think I said it a long time ago, and I've talked about it before. I don't think the best team always wins the cup.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's. Yeah, okay, we're not going to get into that because
exactly. It's like
so many things.
And I don't mean it isn't like, as in like, the team with the best record or whatever, it's because the playoffs are so limited,
The
because
path
it's always
to
an
the cup
East.
is
It's
different.
always an East versus West team. I have my opinions on that, but again, that's a can of worms. That would be the thing that a lot of people online would not. I think a lot of people would agree, but also a lot of people would disagree. Like, I think if it was opened up and it wasn't structured by just East and West, I think we'd see a lot more West versus West matchups in the playoffs, in the Stanley Cup, than we would see East versus West.
Yeah, that's something we're not opening up today, but we can move on to the West if you would like.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and just start in our Central Division. Central Division is the one division that has not moved and will not move. I will firmly, confidently say it will not move. I think you and I don't address this enough. It has been a great year for both of us. Both of our teams are sitting atop of the league. They have been for months now. And both of our teams play their ass off. They do. They both really do. And, you know, they both talking about how Tampa just finds a way to win sometimes. These two teams always find a way to win, no matter what, until we lose to Chicago in the shootout. But
Abolish the shootout. Get rid
Mikko
of the shootout.
Rantanen drops the puck in the shootout.
That was a rough one.
Pretty bad look. But
Yeah.
your Colorado Avalanche, best team in the league still. Incredible win versus Vegas last night. Just find a way to win. And team filled with all-stars, a team filled with speed, a team filled with defense and goaltending. Even the power play isn't as bad as it was. It's coming together a little bit. The penalty kill is great.
Yeah. The power play is like something that, obviously, yes, it would be nice if it was better, but like, it's been fine without it. I mean, it's been whatever it is. I mean, and I think the team's a little too comfortable when they're on the power play. Like, they're like, oh, we're so good, we can just do whatever. But like, I think they need to go back to basics and just not trying to do this super fancy shit. Like, literally just shoot it. And
what's so funny?
And like, get for rebounds.
For a team, I watched the whole game last night. For a team that shoots so much, they don't shoot on the power play.
It's crazy. I don't know what changes. Like, this team shoots like crazy in 5-on-5. When if you shoot in the power play, where it's even easier to score, there's less people to have to fight for a rebound or fight for a puck. I don't know what it is. They just wanted to get these like they want to get these like highlight reel goals on the power play.
The setup.
But I mean, they do sometimes. Like, that goal from Lehkonen wasn't a power play, but it was a 6-on-5 empty net.
It's a
but with the goalie pulled. That's exactly what they need to do. But that was also like it was basically just a put it in the middle of the ice and just smack it towards the net, and it worked. Yeah, seriously underrated player. Artturi Lehkonen gets overshadowed by McKinnon and Natchez being on the first line. Biggest fleece from the Canadians.
You know, I think we were talking about a couple weeks ago, like 1 to 10 chances of things happening. But, you know, I just think the Avs are going to be the President's Trophy winners. It's set in stone at this point. It's really, really hard for this team to lose. Like, if people out there, like listeners, if you don't watch Avalanche hockey consistently, like you watch every now and then, just do yourself a favor and watch just 2 games in a row. That's really all you need to do. And you realize that they are far ahead of other teams. Like, they're for sure the best team in the league. And, you know, it's been a minute, because I feel like when Boston set that record a couple years ago, like, they're really good. They won a lot of games, you know, but the skill wasn't to where... I mean, they need to be tested for PEDs. The skill is ridiculous. Like, and they've just built such a good team. I mean, like, yeah, I hate that I glaze your team every week. Like, I hate it because I don't want to. Like, they're my biggest rival, but I give the unbiased take here. Like, yes, like,
I mean, you can see you can objectively see the skill level and all that stuff. I mean, and yeah, it looks different. The team looks different than the 22-23 Boston team that set the previous record. Like, right now, the Avs are on pace to like really beat that record.
Yeah.
Not even like by like a couple points. It's going to be like 5 or 6 like plus points or whatever. It's crazy. And it goes to like what we were talking about with like Tampa and stuff like, and these teams, like, they find a way to win. Like, they were down 2 goals twice in the game against Vegas, and they scored 2 goals to tie it, 1 in the shootout. Again, I still think the shootout's lame, but just extend overtime. I think that'd be better. But I mean, it's, yeah, and I, honestly, the top 3 teams in the Central Division are all like that. They win the games that they really shouldn't. I mean, albeit some of the, like, I'm not trying to dog on Dallas, or they did lose that game to Chicago. They should have probably won that game, but they lost. I mean, you can't win every game. Like, obviously, like, it's impossible to win every game. Colorado has lost 2. I know they're going to lose more games. It's like, it's realistic. You can't say that they're never going to lose a game again.
I really thought we were going to come in here tonight, and I was going to talk about them getting another regulation loss. Vegas had that game in hand the whole night. Vegas had that game, and we'll get to Vegas in a second. I'm very impressed with Vegas lately, but they just let it go. They let it go. And here's the thing, is that Vegas didn't even really let the game go. Colorado is just a better team. They're that good to where they can win those games. And, like, that's a credit. Moving on to Dallas is, my team here, there have been so many games this year, and I love this feeling, okay? And I felt like it was there a little bit last year, maybe even the past couple years, where Dallas is really down and out, okay? And they're like, hold my beer. It's the 3rd period. They're like, watch this.
Biggest goal differential in the 3rd period in the league right now is Dallas.
Yeah, and they just get it done. And then, we're talking about these 3 teams. Minnesota's the same way. Minnesota will be down and out, like down by 3 goals. And Minnesota, like, the Quinn Hughes trade has changed things over there, because they have this guy now who can just make plays happen. And they already had plenty of guys who could make plays happen, but now, those top guys, Kaprizov, Boldy, Hughes now, Faber, like, you have all these guys, even Zuccarello, like, there's a bunch of
Minnesota is actually genuinely a scary team.
I'm scared to play them right now with the 2nd and 3rd seed. Like, I genuinely think we could lose in the first round if we play Minnesota. And it's looking like I said, these teams aren't gonna
please.
These teams aren't gonna move. Like, maybe Dallas and Minnesota might interchange, but Colorado's not moving. Like, I am actually scared to play the Wild. Like, and I feel like I need to have more faith in my squad.
I'll say this though: Dallas, more so than even Colorado, is a team that finds a way to win. Colorado has not had to have that many comeback games. Dallas, like you said, they get in this slot where, like, they just, like, are down and out. They're down by multiple goals. They wasted
the first 2 periods, it seems like sometimes.
And then they just like 180 in the 3rd period. It's crazy. And Dallas, more than any team in the league right now, has done that. And it's crazy to watch. And it's crazy to see when you text me about it, because it's like the up and down is crazy. But honestly,
the reason I'm scared to play,
I think that they could beat Minnesota in the playoffs because of
Minnesota's
that alone.
goaltending is better than Dallas's goaltending. Minnesota's goaltending is insane right now. Like, so good.
Yeah, but they have an untested goallie. Like,
they have a rookie.
You have no idea how he's going to perform in the playoffs. The stress of playing in the playoffs your first time, especially with such a high, like, honestly, like, he's good, but they got to be careful if they overhype this kid.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how
lights are too bright in the playoffs.
Like, he gets to the playoffs and gets, like, blown out in a game, he's done. They start
Gustafsson in the playoffs anyways, but, like,
that's crazy though.
I feel like we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We're, like, talking about the playoffs already, but we could talk about these 2 and 3 teams all day,
we could talk about those 3 teams because they're gonna be in the playoffs. They're gonna be in whatever,
but, like, can we talk about the serious fall off in this division? I don't think this has been discussed on Icing the Puck yet. Like, this division is not good.
Literally, like, the hot and cold of this entire division. Like, you have 3 teams that are the top of the league, literally 1, 2, and 3.
And then there's no room for anybody else.
And then the rest of the league is bottom, are bottom in every division. Like, they are literally the bottom of the league.
The Winnipeg Jets need to be studied.
It's the Icing the Puck curse, dude. I'm telling you.
What Winnipeg Jets remind me of? They remind me of the New York Rangers from last year. 2 years ago, the New York Rangers win the President's Trophy, and then just fall off, and just season tanked. The following season tanked. And here we have Winnipeg, President's Trophy last year. Your goalie wins the Hart Trophy. And yeah, the Hart Trophy winning goalie is out right now still, and that is really holding them back. But defensively, they're not
No, you
structured
mean
like
the
they were.
Hart or Vezina?
He won the Hart.
Did he win the Hart or the Vezina?
Are you not thinking straight today? Yeah,
Oh,
Hellebuyck won the Hart and the Vezina.
that's right. Oh, you're not talking about. You're talking about total. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
he won the Hart Trophy last year, and it's here they are now, and like I said, the defense isn't structured how it was last year. I mean, Mark Scheifele started the year super hot. I feel like the guys are hot and cold over there. Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, the core that they've built, we thought was going to be so amazing, and yeah, maybe they still will be, but they're not making playoffs this year.
I'll tell you what, though, they sure do rack up some fantasy points for me.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm
They
sure.
do.
But I think that's another problem with this team is depth.
Yeah.
Maybe signing 38-year-old Jonathan Taves wasn't the smartest idea.
I honestly forgot that he was on that team, which sucks because I really like Jonathan Taves, but
Great guy,
he's been
great player.
Been a ghost.
After he did the puking treatment in India, I mean, it's been a big old puke on the ice. I don't know. He's not even playing that bad. I feel like I haven't really looked into
I don't really hear about him. I don't see anything about him. That's why I kind of forget.
Mark Scheifele has 45 points. I mean, he's having a good year, but Kyle Connor 45, Velarde 33. Morrissey has 30 points. He's having a good year. But then after that, it's a steep drop off. You have Niederreiter with 15, Iafallo with 13, DeMello 13. The point is it just goes straight down. You don't have any depth scoring on this team. Defense has been struggling. Hellebuyck being out. I mean, it's a mess. It's almost on to next year for Winnipeg fans.
I mean, they're the opposite. They're a team that always seems to find a way to lose games. They just can't. Yeah, they can't get a win to save their life. They just find a way. They'll go up by 2 or 3, and then it'll just be gone. They'll lose it, and it's crazy. For a team that, like we talked about, was so well, chemistry wise, yeah, that's great and all, but it did not translate to wins.
It's really just the top line that has the chemistry now.
Yeah. They're super top heavy, no depth. I'll tell you what though. When I said about fantasy, that's the strat. It's the cheat code, dude. Get line mates and then the defenseman that plays with them. Cheat code for fantasy points. It's the only thing. Honestly, that's the only good thing that Winnipeg's done for me this year.
Yeah, I mean, even if Hellebuyck comes back, I mean, I think it's on to next year for these guys.
And we talk about teams like Chicago.
Yeah.
Without Bedard, that team sucks.
Oh, they're horrible. Except for when they beat Dallas randomly on a Saturday night. But
yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of like a fluke game. It's just one of those games. Dallas just lost that game. I mean, I don't know.
They don't have Bedard or Nazar, two guys who were, top producers for them. And, it just made me remember again how horrible defensively the Hawks are. That's something that needs to, I mean, it's not 100% terrible, because all the guys are super young. They're kind of coming into their own, other than
they got absolutely destroyed by the Penguins today.
Yeah, it's just they're not good, and that shows that Chicago's still in a rebuild. I mean, there have been a couple times early on this year they were in a playoff spot. That's because the Central was getting ironed out. That was before Minnesota got really good and whatever else, but this is a weak division. It was kind of easy to get in that spot, but I think things are even. The scale is evening a little bit in the West, and do I think Chicago will finish last in the league? No, but it's just tough. And I think this makes a little bit more of a push for Bedard to make Team Canada, in my opinion. When he does come back, he is the best player by far on this team. Without him, the team is bottom. Bedard is that much of an impact player. Why wouldn't you want him with his shot on Team Canada? So
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he should have a chance. I think he should have a shot on that team. But we'll see what happens. But I don't know.
Pacific time.
Yeah, we can talk about the Pacific real quick. It's the West this year. We overhyped the Western Conference this year somehow.
Yeah,
Like
icing the puck
for
first.
normally a conference that's so good. Not that it isn't, because literally the 3 best teams in the league are from the Central, which is a Western Conference team.
Top-heavy conference.
Yeah. I mean, you then look at the Pacific, which is pretty close. Like, it's not. This is like how a division should look. Like, you have your guys at the top, then you have your guys in the middle who could push for a spot at the top, and then you have like your last team, like your team in last place, which is just. I mean, the tank has started for Vancouver. Like, they need to just tank the rest of their season.
For sure.
They need to get that, first round draft pick.
Gavin McKenna. Vancouver Canuck Gavin McKenna.
Let's be honest. They're somehow going to not end up with that draft pick. It's like
Gavin McKenna will be
a Columbus Blue Jacket.
You know how hard Bettman wants McKenna and Bedard to play together? He's like, maybe you should sit Bedard for the rest of the year. Maybe you should tank.
If the Blackhawks...
Taves and Kane all over again.
If the Blackhawks get a first round, like the first overall pick again... Riots, bro. Riots.
No, the Islanders just had it, though.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that close together, like...
Bedard, they get Bedard. Skip a year when there's not, like, a crazy player available. McKenna. No, like, the league's rigged at that point.
Yeah.
There's no way Bettman lets Gavin McKenna play in Canada. It can't be Vancouver or Calgary. He won't let it happen.
Yeah, as I said, Columbus, bro. Gavin McKenna, you are Columbus Blue Jacket.
No, nobody cares about Columbus. Sorry, Columbus fans. Sorry.
Wow. Sad day for Columbus. Yeah, they got a cool
Brian
cannon.
Disapproves of Columbus.
They got a cool cannon. I like that.
They do.
I like when they shoot the cannon when they score.
It's pretty sweet.
I would love to go to a game there.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Not an Avs game, though, but I'd love to go.
Just be a Columbus fan for a day.
Yeah, I want to go and actually hear the cannon go off, so.
And, like, cheer when it goes off. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Pacific Division. The bottom, terrible. Seattle, huge fall off, by the way. After starting the year pretty well. I mean, they're already selling. They sold Marchment. I think this team knows that they ain't making it. And they're okay with that. And I've been seeing a lot of reports that Seattle is about to be a big seller. I could see it.
What's his name getting traded?
I don't know if they trade Montour. I don't know about any of the top guys. Maybe. I mean, I know he's the captain, but, like, is Jordan Eberle on his way out? They get a lot for a veteran player like him who scores.
I mean, yeah, Eberle's, like, probably their best player on their team right now.
Statistically, yeah. But he's what, 34 years old, 35?
Yeah, I mean, his actually, so he is on, this is last year of his contract. So I can see him being a deadline trade to a team, just a rental for whatever. One thing they're not going to trade or even have a chance to do, Matty Beniers, they are stuck with him.
Yeah.
His contract is, 7-1 is a lot for him right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, maybe someone will pick him up, but I don't know who. I'm just looking at their depth chart. I mean, probably Dunn. I can see Dunn getting traded.
Yeah, Larson maybe.
Yeah, Vince Dunn. I saw some stuff about him getting traded to like an Eastern team or something like that. I can definitely see that happening. Honestly, I can even see like a team like Carolina picking him up or whatever, because they're, someone that was trying to make a deep playoff run.
Calgary's going to have a fire sale too, I think. Those two teams, look for them to have an absolute fire sale and just dump a bunch of these guys off.
Do you think, sorry, I'm thinking still thinking about Seattle. Do you think Seattle trades DeCord to someone team that kind of needs a goalie?
Detroit, maybe?
I was thinking more Edmonton.
Have you seen this going around, staying here in the Pacific? Edmonton trying to pull Fleury out of retirement?
I did. Was it Edmonton confirmed? I saw that some teams were talking, like trying
Edmonton
to get him to.
Edmonton was the one who's called him multiple times.
That's crazy. I would just block their number.
Or he's called his agent, or they've called his agent. They're trying to.
Dude literally retired, took a short-term contract with the Penguins so he could retire a Penguin.
How much money would it take?
I don't think it's about the money. I also don't think he wants to play for Edmonton. Like, why would you want to go play for a team you're just going to get lit up? Like, I mean, why do you want to go? I'm going to come out of retirement just to lose a bunch of games.
That'd be. Fleury and Jari, They've done it together before.
Well, Jari's not even playing. Dude's out.
They've done it together before. Bring the band back together, you know?
No, I think that's there's no way that he would do that. If he does, that's just like villain mode.
He's 40.
Yeah. He would actually become a villain overnight if he did that. It's hard to say that about Marc-Andre Fleury because he's like such
if I got some cash thrown at me,
they don't have any money to throw at him.
They'll find some. Yeah, I don't know. This Edmonton, I feel like every episode, I'm so sick and tired of Edmonton. Every single episode, we're forced to talk about this because they can't seem to get it together. Like, this is such a played out narrative. Can we just end this, please? Like, can you please just find a franchise goalie so I can shut up?
You know when we're going to stop hearing about Edmonton? When McDavid signs for another team in 2 years.
Yeah, well, he's about to win the Hart Trophy. I don't know. Do they throw him like an even bigger bag after 2 years?
Why do you say he's going to win the Hart Trophy? Just because he has the most points?
Okay, that's something we can actually talk about here related to the Pacific. Like,
this is the only time
neck and neck.
This is one of those. I mean, he's got more points than McKinnon now, but this is one of those times of people equate the Hart with the most points. Like, it doesn't matter the amount of points you get.
Hey, McKinnon won the Hart 2 years ago without the most points.
I know, exactly.
So he did it,
and because he was the most valuable player.
But okay, so here's my thing: if Edmonton, and they do have a chance if they win the Pacific, and McDavid has the most points, give him the Hart Trophy. Because, that team is butt cheeks. Without him, they're nothing. Okay? And that's just true up to this point.
I mean,
But I feel like McKinnon, without McKinnon, would the Avs be winning the President's Trophy?
No.
So...
You just defeated your own argument.
Yeah,
literally,
I did. Give it to McKinnon. Okay.
It's the same thing as, going back and looking at, the Norris. Like when Carlson won the Norris.
Yeah,
that's true. Hot take. The only reason he won the Norris is because he had the most points, but the only reason he had the most points is because he played for San Jose. Obviously, well, look what happens. Look what happens when he goes to a team that's not San Jose. The fall off is crazy.
That's true.
The points don't matter. I mean, yeah, it's obvious. If you can't say somebody who has no points can win the Hart, but it's not. It shouldn't be about who has the most points. McDavid just has a load of assists.
You know,
he
why
has goals
it's
too,
McKinnon
obviously, but
over McDavid for me is because, on a personality standpoint, you see what McDavid said the other day? He said, "I was born on the ice." A little arrogant there, buddy. All right, maybe take it down a notch. Nobody cares. We see it.
This is kind of
McKinnon doesn't say anything. He never says anything.
He never does. It's
He's
so
a weird
funny.
guy, though.
I mean, it's funny when watching some of the games where he they do the 3 stars of the game or whatever, home games or whatever, and they announce the 3 stars or whatever. He consistently will get 3rd star or 2nd star or whatever. He just is not there. They go they try to pull him aside oh, you're gonna be one of the stars. He's like, bye, and he just goes. He's just gone. He's locked to the locker room. He's there to play hockey and lead this team. He's not there to, I mean, he interacts with the fans and that kind of stuff. But dude is just so intense. It's crazy. And I think that, is it weird to say that he's between McDavid and McKinnon, McKinnon is more old school, but plays like a new school player. He old school attitude, but plays like a new school player.
100%.
Versus McDavid is all new school.
He is, for sure. Well, McDavid is passionate too, though. They're both, I feel all they care about is hockey, both of them, but in a different way. McDavid is more so flashy, a little arrogant from time to time.
If you go and look at stuff outside of games or whatever, it's going to turn into the McDavid versus McKinnon podcast right now. But McDavid's he's passionate about hockey or whatever, but it's very personal, know, not selfish in a way, but he doesn't seem like a leader to me.
McDavid?
No. Versus McKinnon, I don't think he's a captain. I don't think McKinnon should be the captain of the team or whatever, in the future or anything like that. But when he talks about hockey and the way he plays and the way he pushes his team is very different than McDavid.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you just look at some of the stuff outside of in other interviews and stuff like that. He's watching what you're eating. Like, bro, you shouldn't eat that.
Yeah,
Like that's crazy. That's so, that's like a next level thing.
Yeah, we could never play with McKinnon, dude. You
No,
and
he'd be like, you
it
guys,
could
you're
happen.
eating Whataburger again.
Yeah, he'd be like, you two are at McDonald's again? Like,
Yeah.
you two are having dessert after every meal? Are you serious? But listen, we can't turn this into a McDavid versus McKinnon thing. It'll just go on for an hour.
Everybody knows where I stand on this, so it's a moot point.
Listen, let's talk about Anaheim. Anaheim was sitting atop this division for a while. They're only 1 point out. Anaheim's kind of, the excitement's fallen off a little bit. You could say.
Offensively, they've fallen off. That was their biggest, that was what propelled them to the front of the division was their offense, and it's been kind of stagnant a little bit. Like, I don't think goaltending wise or defensively they've looked any worse. It's just they just haven't been scoring as much, and that alone has cost them.
In Anaheim, I'd love to see him add a piece. I'd love to see him add a big piece come the deadline. I'd love to see this team, say, hey, we're winning with this group we have. Why don't we add this piece and try to win it all? I mean, is it too far-fetched to say that Anaheim maybe is just a couple pieces away from winning it all, so why not just try and get them by March? Maybe a Steven Stamkos is what they need, or something along those lines, like a big veteran, a Jordan Eberle, if Seattle's willing to.
Honestly, I think they need some guys in between. They have young guys, they have veteran guys. They need some of those guys that are like mid to late 20s that have been in the league a little bit, have played on these teams that are, where they've kind of grown on them. Yeah. And they need to kind of find their own spot, kind of find their own, their own team in a way of
Mm-hmm.
kind of maturing into like those veteran players. So I think I can see them picking up some guys like in that middle
maybe like
bracket
a Max
more than
Domi
anything.
or something,
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at which teams are going to be sellers and see what they have that way.
Yeah.
But I think really that's another part with Anaheim's. I don't know where they should add. Should they add defensively or should they add offensively? I actually, honestly, am kind of leaning more towards adding defensively than anything. I think they need some guys that are going to be like offensive defensemen. I think they need to add a couple more there. But I mean,
man, what about an Erik Karlsson?
I just got done.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, you could.
Like a guy who produces, who could quarterback a power play a little bit, other than Lacombe.
Maybe they'll be buyers from Seattle. In division is crazy, but it happens all the time.
Yeah, you never know, Vince Dunn or something. It'd be an interesting pickup. I mean, Seattle's going to sell, so it just depends on where they get the best offer from, and it could just be a rental. Then you got Vegas sitting at the top here. Vegas has been playing some pretty good hockey. They held their own against the Avalanche last night. Just like I said, I think Vegas's problem is sometimes they just find ways to lose games, whether it's stupid penalties or, just letting in a late goal that shouldn't have gone in.
In all honesty, they should not have lost that game against Colorado. Colorado did have a couple goals that were very, very, very lucky. And I think some of that comes from a couple of them were from defensive issues on Vegas' side. They kind of were out of position, and deflections off of Vegas players is what caused goals. But when you have a team like Colorado that, like we talked about, does just shoot like crazy, those kind of things happen, and that's how you win those games. But I don't think they looked bad in that game against Colorado. Their goaltending actually was pretty good. Carter Hart did really good.
Yeah, Carter Hart played a good game, that's for sure. Yeah, he made some outstanding saves, jumping wide to the net and catching a puck here and there.
His positioning was really good. It was really a couple of those goals, like I said, were not on him. There's no way he could have stopped them. 2 deflection goals off of Vegas players.
You look at their games, there's so many games where they allow 5+, whether it's Hill or Hart, starting, you're not going to go far if you allow a lot of goals. They're atop the Pacific. I mean, the Pacific's going to be shuffled a little bit as well, but I definitely don't see a team from the Pacific going all the way. It's a huge divide between Central and Pacific. The teams at the top of the Pacific, their lunch gets eaten by the teams at the top of the Central. You know what I mean by that? It's pretty easy to determine which division is going to get it.
It's kind of a misleading thing to say that the top 3 teams in every division aren't even top 3. None of them are top 3 in the Central Division alone. That's kind of misleading because those teams are so far ahead.
It's statistically true.
Even like the Pacific, like not all of those teams are like, they're not even top 3 in, I mean, they're at most third place in both the Atlantic and the Metro.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree that I don't see.
It's dog days
really
of the Pacific Division for sure.
Yeah. Again, Vegas is the team from the Pacific I can see making a playoff run and, you know, potentially making a cup final, but
I'm also
that's going to be a tall task
for
them.
I'm intrigued to see what they do because we know every year they're the most aggressive team. They make tons of moves at the deadline. They try to get themselves in a winning position. I'm willing to see what capital they're willing to give up to add a winning piece. To be honest, this hasn't been talked about yet, but I don't think Vegas is too far out of the Nazem Kadri sweepstakes. Like, throw that idea in the trash. Like, you know, we'll see what they're willing to do to try and, I guess, stomp the Central. You know, to try and step on one of those teams in the playoffs to make it to the conference final.
You saying that reminds me, like, I wonder if that could be a move that Anaheim makes, is going for like Rasmus Anderson.
Yeah, trading within the division is definitely open for Vegas or Anaheim for sure. Like, you know, once again, I think some of their
best options are in division, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think some of those teams at the bottom, like Vancouver, Seattle, and Calgary, like Seattle and Calgary are going to be the biggest like offloaders here. I think it's really just best offer on the table, you know, for draft capital or like depth players. And Anaheim and Vegas both have depth players that they can offload. I mean,
yeah,
you know, with Vegas, you got like Brett Howden, Braden Bowman, guys like that who help you at the bottom, Kolazar. You know, same with Anaheim. Like, you know, they have tons of young players. You have to choose which of those young players you're going to move on with in the future. Yeah, so I mean, it's really just free game here. Like, we'll see what happens. I mean, deadline's going to be interesting for sure. And that's the thing is, I don't want to write the Pacific Division off because Vegas and Anaheim, I feel like they're both going to be a little aggressive, you know, and try and take some punches at the Central Division a little bit come playoff time. So.
Yep.
You know, wild card is most likely, you know, coming from one team in the Pacific. Maybe. I don't know. Mean, as of right now, no.
It's pretty close. Like, that's the other thing, too. Like, we were talking about the Central being, like, so bad. The Central is still, like, kind of in, like, some of their teams are...
Utah's a wild card team.
Yeah, they're pretty close to... Right now, it would be...
LA and Utah?
Yes, LA and Utah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, right now, what Colorado
Come on, Sharks.
The Sharks
are right. The Sharks are right there.
Need them in.
Please, not the Shark. Please don't let Utah be who Colorado plays first. Did you see that Utah game on Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever? Dude, that was like it was not a boring game, but their games are like that sometimes when they play each other. It was one goal. Colorado scored one goal. It was an unassisted goal from Samuel Girard. One singular point was awarded that game.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But, you know, Scott Wedgwood shutout.
Yeah. I mean, who would you rather play, Utah or LA?
LA.
Fair
Utah
enough.
is like, the way that Utah plays is always difficult for Colorado. So I think I would rather them play. Well, we'll see. Well, I'm curious. Well, we'll see that matchup on Monday. Tomorrow is LA and Colorado. Yep. So
that was the season opener, too.
Mm-hmm.
Primetime season opener.
Yep.
Listen, y'all, it is a totally different story on each side of the league, on each side of the country right now when it comes to hockey. Tie race in the East, you know, a bit of a slow go in the West with the top guys taking the crown. It's going to be interesting to see how things shake up here as we go into the Olympic break in a couple months. You know, we have, or just 1 month, actually. We have about little over a month until the Olympics start, and a lot's going to happen in between then. So we will see. It's been interesting. We had a nice Christmas break. Time for hockey to take first place in our lives again. Thank you, everybody. We will see you in the next one. We appreciate it. Go follow all the socials. You already know. Icing the Puck Pod on everything. Go check it out. Thanks for the TikTok engagement. Can't wait for all the arguments this week.
I know. Yeah, that's going to be the best part. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the social media hate I'm going to get. All the personal insults and hate against me. I'm here for it. I love it. I'll be the villain. It's okay.
We'll take the villain spot. Mikko Rantanen's the villain. We'll be the villain.
When he gets suspended, I cannot wait. We need to post the I'm a criminal on the TikTok this time. That'll go crazy on that one. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about from the Instagram, that was such a good story post. I loved it.
They'll probably figure
posted,
out very soon.
The one I posted without Brian's permission, I just did it anyway. But yeah, check us out on our socials. Check us out on the YouTube. On our YouTube page, YouTube Shorts. All
we
that
need
kind
some
of stuff.
YouTube and interaction.
We get some comments here and there. It's again, I'm just not as active. We're not as active on YouTube as we are on TikTok and Instagram. Those are just so much easier to manage. But it's okay. Go check us out. It's maybe we'll start having a good time over there. Thanks everybody for listening. We will see you on the next one.